Yeah,
Can you
what's
ask me
up?
the same? Can you ask me the same question I asked you?
How can you perform or basically represent Melchizedek order?
Well, a Melchizedek order is a lifestyle leading back to the Nazarites, which are special chosen healers who took an oath to really restore, rebuild, and heal our nation. So I'm a certified master herbalist, dietitian, and woman wound specialist. I have cases of healing testimonials from cancer to HIV to diabetes to stage 3 kidney cancer. Not only that, I teach history, anthropology. For the past 7 to 8 years, before I got on this app, I was teaching nothing but Israelite history. Now, a lot of people is
Mm-hmm.
leveling up to be a Nazarite. So, being that CERN is happening and the Agenda 21 and the coronavirus, why not provide solutions instead of me yelling out in the street that the white man is the devil, woman put on a dress and stop eating pork. So my goal was to
I
really teach people about pork is in your meat that you eat. Pork is in your Passover lamb because they put meat glue in
right.
all these stores that you get lamb from. And because these Israelites, no, most of these Israelites ain't chopping no lamb head off. They're going straight to the store and get the lamb, and it's meat glue in there, which is
Right.
pig's fat. So just that little bit of information can really help our people out because we're dying of diabetes. We're the highest of every negative disease. And when I have these kind of talks with ISUPK or like IUIC, it's like they don't care. It doesn't interest
They
them.
don't give a
Healing our
fuck
nation
about
is
it at all.
so are we dealing with cults? Are we dealing with real Nazarites, real, like people that's really about healing and restoring and rebuilding our nation? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? And you basically shit doing exactly what we supposed to do. You know, because a lot of
Well,
motherfuckers that talk about the laws all day and everything like that, but at the end of the day, I'll be saying the same thing, yelling at motherfuckers and trying to disrespect the person. What is that gonna do, bro? You basically turning motherfuckers away when you do that shit. That's why I never had no ambition, no type of need to join the camp because it's like, wow, I can do this shit on my own without being around a bunch of niggas that's damn near emotional. I don't understand it.
I feel you, bro. Native, I see you in the building. What's going on, Chola? Peace, love, and light.
What it
Peace,
do? What
peace,
it do?
bro.
What's up,
Oh
TT?
yeah, y'all
What's up,
don't know.
Pro? What's up? What's up, She?
Use the truth when it comes to this food, bro. I'm following him on Instagram. They be doing their stuff. I
Yeah, it's
learned a
time,
lot
man.
from the brother.
It's been too long, man. We
Well,
got to step
peace,
into
peace.
survival mode. It's time for survival mode. Let's stop with the bullshit. We've been debating and trying to see who dick is bigger for almost 400 plus years. Now it's time to put this religion and these ideologies to the side. Our people need healing. Our people need to learn about their true history. It's people out here dying and crying, and we need to look at the man in the mirror and defeat the inner me. I know y'all want to blame the white man. The white man did this. It's the white man's fault. But let's start putting our households back together. Let's start treating our women right back again. Women start
Right?
treating the man right, knowing that we are a team. And the only way this is going to go down is if we get yourself right first, then we can focus on uniting.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I've been following you since last summer, man. You doing a good job, man. I appreciate your work and your dedication, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate
You got the spirit on you. And I ain't gonna lie, I know who Native is too. I spoke with you last summer too, man. You was breaking down the motherfucking I
Oh,
think we
I
was
didn't
talking
even
about some
see Native
Freemason
in here.
shit.
What's up, man?
Yeah, Troll. I
Yeah.
said, what's up, T? Hey, I appreciate it, big dog. I followed you too. Yeah, what's up, Troll?
Yeah,
She a rule.
you was breaking down the
Peace,
glaciers.
peace.
You was breaking down how the glaciers is surrounded around the landmass and how it's another. I believe we was talking about that. How you saying the
Long time ago.
fuck you was talking about? You was basically saying how the is that the damn
I don't even want to
some
talk
type
about
of seal? Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that shit was
I don't
deep,
even want.
bro. I ain't gonna never forget that one. That was a good ass conversation about the Bering Strait and all that shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
man. Oh,
Here's the thing. I understand that the elites and universities talk about one type of Bering Strait, but let's look at a Bering Strait. Let's talk about the distance between it. I have look when I look at the map, right, and I have noticed that there's more than just one Bering Strait. That's the thing I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to bring out to people because it's not like it's really connected. You know, when you do the measurement, there's a lot of stuff that's like connect, like just like the Bering Strait. There's a lot of connections out here. I was just always saying, man, it's more than just one Bering Strait.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that's really close by, real close to each other
Right.
That's in
that bring
traveling
us together.
distance, walking
Yeah,
distance.
that bring us together. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Hey, and Native, I just found out something today. I was gonna call you on the phone and tell you this, but I feel like I just tell everybody. I spoke with my sister today, and I was always curious about my dad's side of the family, because my granddad looked like a straight up so-called Indian. So I said, hey, sis, you got any pictures or anything of my great granddad? I wanted to, because I feel like I'm Negro, but sometimes I look in the mirror, I feel like a native tone. And she said, yeah, we Seminole on daddy's side. Like, damn, I had a feeling we was some type
Seminole. Okay, if you tapped into the Seminoles, we'll work on that. The history
That just
behind
mean
that word.
why.
but she said
Nah,
she's not a
it's
1,000% sure, but she said more.
it's
She
not
said,
wrong. It's
yeah,
not wrong to Seminole. It's just we're gonna get in. We can get into the wordplay later, but the wow,
yeah,
Seminole is actually a bad type of name, just like the
Right.
yeah.
Indian, savage. But here's the thing: the Seminoles. That means you're in the
More common.
south. I'm just want to get this point out. You're just in the south, like the
Hmm.
Florida areas, slightly type Georgia, the Fort
Yeah.
Lottie Dotties. So you down there, and so you actually come from the citrus region. So like I always told people, you knew who you was because it's not about your cheekbones or your hair. That's that Pocahontas Disney World shit. I got high cheekbones, so I must be an American. No, it's not about how you look. It's not even a blood thing. It's a tribe thing, a vibration. Your vibe is your tribe. So we used to say, what you brought to the table tells me where the part of the world you come from, because everything can't grow in certain regions. When they create all these
Mm.
hybrids and all this stuff, it confuses us about what tribe we come from. So if we knew that you was bringing the so-called the papa, or the key line, that got his name from Key West, I knew you came from the South. If I knew you brought the Granny Smith apples, I knew you was a Blackfoot or up in the Canada areas or up north. You know what I mean? So it's based on what you brought to the table that I knew where you came from. But here today we're saying I have silky hair, I have high cheekbones, I gotta be an Indian. It's not like that. That's not what it
Mm-mm.
is. It's nothing to do about silky hair. It's all type of different colors and different type of coarse, medium, and fine type hair. It's not about that. So
Hey,
yeah,
so
yeah,
so
you
so
the
so
south
so,
south.
so what Native talking about when me and Native first met 4 years ago, my favorite fruit was the key lime. And Native just said to me that key lime is really a Seminole thing, like it's that South thing. So like that made perfect sense.
It comes
So,
from Key West. Yep. Go ahead. Y'all got it.
so what if I like blackberries? What would I be? Because that's my
Black,
favorite
black,
fruit.
Yeah.
so blackberries, you come from the northern tribe. So all berries come from the north tribes. So it's you got
Colder climate.
north, central, and south. So here's the thing. Always to think like this: the south is more sugar. All the food down there has the most sugar. When you get up in the central, it's slightly sugar. That's why peaches taste slightly like a citrus is slightly in like an apple. Then when you get further up north, it gets more waterier, like it has a slight sugary taste. So all northern food has more water in it. The central has more water and sugar, and then the south has more sugar. That's how it's designed. So what they
Okay.
did is they mingle. They have learned how to mingle seasons with seasons and create a hybrid. You should never walk down in Key West and see an apple. Apples can't grow down there. You should never go up in Ohio and New York and see bananas. They can't grow up there. So what did they do? They created hybrids. How did they do that? When you get into that splicing by bringing different seasons together, that started getting confusing.
That's
Now we're like, that's why everybody thinks a lot of these fruits and vegetables come from Africa. They're like, but it's over there. You don't know that. You don't know that that's a hybrid or something. So that's how we knew who we was by what tribe, by what you brought to the table.
Okay.
right.
That's powerful, man.
Just like the Black Panther, y'all. If you go to the movie Black Panther, they tricked us on that. y'all know where a Black Panther comes from, right?
Yeah, here.
Yeah. So it's
The
laughable
jaguar and the
that
panther somewhat the same.
yeah, it's laughable that they put it on some African type stuff. Like they're even
Right,
it's crazy because they know we don't know our animals and species and stuff like that like we used to. You know what I mean?
right.
So yeah,
The lion isn't the king of the jungle, like that type of situation.
right.
Shit, where
And
do the
also
Black Panther come
down in the
from? Did the
Seminole,
Black
it's the
Panther come from
Yamasee
It,
Asia?
though. If you look up the Yamasee tribe
no,
though, that's
it's
the
originally
main
it's that
Seminole.
stuff originally is from over here.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just they
Okay.
listen. They wiped our history. See, they what it is. They want you to think nationality. No, they wiped everything over here away,
Right.
and
Now,
are trying to tell you to go somewhere else so they can take over this place.
right,
right.
right, right. That's what they're doing.
So
I
let's
I
say
Go
that.
know
back
I
to
know how they yeah,
Oh,
I
I was
know
gonna
that
say
they was the
it say the
history.
Black Panther comes from Asia, Africa, and Americas. That's what it say.
yeah, of course they're gonna put them two up in there
Yeah,
with
you
from over
know,
here.
Right.
You see how they're gonna
right.
throw us in there?
But
You
They're
know,
but
gonna
I
now
throw
always
us
but
in
now
there by ourselves,
it's saying Oakland,
by
California
ourselves.
mainly.
Right.
See, now we're gonna get into the true motherland, California. Mama Cali, you know, we're gonna get over there. So
Hey
Yeah.
yo,
that's
Are you talking about the
Cali.
black? Y'all talking about the Black Panther movement? Or are you talking
My
about the
bad.
actual?
My bad.
the movie,
That was
the movie,
my bad. That was a movement.
the
The
movie,
movie.
I read
the
the wrong
movie.
name.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
yeah.
I'm talking about the
The
movie.
movement started in Oakland, California. The Panther is
Huey P.
originally
Newton.
from South America, North America,
Correct,
but
correct,
they have
correct.
jaguars and panthers
Yeah.
and
The
Asia.
jaguar was separate to the
Yep.
Aztecs and Americans. Like the
But
jaguar
but
had a
you know
lot of
what's crazy? That movie belongs to us over here though. It should have been designed for over here.
right. But that's why they made the antagonist in it like that black versus African. They killed a bunch of birds in one stone with that movie too.
Let me ask
Avatar
y'all a
belong
question. Have y'all ever heard of the Aurora?
Aurora,
Aurora,
I'm
Aurora
I
familiar.
get
Boreal,
the
Aurora,
last word.
Aurora Boreal.
the lights.
Really, yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Northern Lights. That's
What y'all think about that?
I love it.
What's so crazy you say that? I think something just happened because that's what the significance with July 4th. It's called a parallel, where the sun is the furthest from the earth and it create them lights. It's a significant time around July 4th. That's why they really celebrate it like that. Even in ancient Kemetic times
Yeah,
and different.
I was thinking about taking a trip down there to see it, but I was just,
You got to.
I'm one of those
You
people
got
that
to.
want to see the Great Migration. It's the next year, so I'm probably gonna go down there in September, first week of
That's what
September. Check
I'm
it
down
out.
with that type of vacation. I want to do the Northern Lights. I fuck the body. I want to go to Northern Lights, to rainforest, definitely the Northern Lights, the sea vault, all that stuff, man. I want to do the Northern
Yeah,
Lights, man. That's
we
just
was
great.
gonna go see the Great Migration too, though. And
Mm.
Hey, so
yeah.
native, I got a question.
Take it easy on me, man.
All right. So so I just want to know like can you pinpoint for me when they start putting these fake representation of Native American people in it and why do they
I,
look so Mexican?
you talking about the diluted ones, like
Yeah.
today's type Mexicans?
Yeah. And they look to me a Mexican look like they a so-called Native American. It's like they trying to trick us or some shit.
You talking about the light skinned ones with the like they look like half white people and half like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look up the
have you
Seminole
have you
Wars and shit, bro.
have you been to Mexico?
Nuh-uh.
When I was there, right? So when I went there for my honeymoon, I seen two type of arguments going on over there. When the first time I went over there, I noticed that everybody was riding mopeds. That's the first thing I want to start off with, just so y'all can know I was over there. Most of the family people and all the poor people, they was riding around on scooters, or what you call mopeds. They had the wife, the father, the two boys, and the daughter, all on one little 50cc. And what I noticed is
Wow.
they was not getting along with the dark skinned Mexicans, which was our height. They're around 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", and them is the ones that's actually I see has been getting wiped off the map and not being placed on the internet. When you type in like a Mexican, you see a short one with a big mustache and a lot of acne on the face. When I seen them dark skinned
Mm-hmm.
Mexicans down there, they don't get along with the little short ones.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They actually don't
I,
get along with them.
yeah. I heard Texas Mexicans don't get along with California Mexicans too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
Somebody
I don't know.
dude from prison was telling me that like they getting told all the time.
Yeah, I
But
was
but but
I was in Napa Valley, California, and it was nothing but Mexicans out there.
But you know what? When I was talking to the dark skin, because I don't want to call them Mexicans, what he was telling me is that we Americans, we are family, and he said he noticed that we don't honor and respect a lot of stuff that we have here, like our resources. Because I had to pay to use the bathroom everywhere I went around the area I was. I had to always pay to use the bathroom. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't have, like a lot of running water, this and that. And they just kept explaining a lot of stuff, man. Like you see families like 5 people on a 50cc scooter. And then when you get out here, it just changes your mind when you see the world, man. When you get out and look at stuff, you realize the textbooks and the history books are lying about a lot of stuff.
For real.
They really is. Once you leave, you realize a lot of people got rich off of us, these black conscious community on YouTube about how the world is, but
Man.
they never left. They never left, yo.
Oh, hey, Native, you mind if I say something real quick? Flavor Price in the comments. You saying that the comic book character of Black Panther was drawn in '66. Stokely Carmichael came up with the Black Panthers in '64, 2 years before that. So, like, I think you just gotta go back into your history. But Stokely Carmichael, and the reason why I put Kwame Ture in the comments, and the spell check messed up his last name. He changed his name to Kwame Ture, but Stokely Carmichael was the head of SNCC, which is SNCC. There was the other group that was running with the SCLC, which was Martin Luther King and Ralph Abernathy. The other group that wanted to fight the white people that was throwing stuff at them with the Deacons of Defense from New Orleans. So he originated the movement of Black Panthers. Then in Oakland, California, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale started the Black Panther Party movement, which was a whole different thing, but it came off of what Stokely Carmichael created. So yeah,
Uh
all
oh.
of that shit actually happened before that character. Just
Uh
get your
oh.
shit
Right.
correct.
Uh oh.
No, that's deep.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
hey, Troller, did you see that movie they had on that Black Panther movie with the dude from Get Out? Did you see that one?
Um, I remember I seen the old Black
I
Panther
think I
movie,
seen
and then recently
Fred
they made
Hampton.
a movie about Fred Hampton.
Fred
Yeah,
Hampton. Yeah, Fred
yeah,
Hampton.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah. I seen that Fred Hampton movie. They kind of,
yeah, he did it.
I mean, they did a good job, but they shorted him because he did a lot more than that, man. And then they kind
Right.
of like didn't really go into detail about how, because Fred Hampton, one of my favorite activists, he literally went to the
Yes, sir.
Ku Klux Klan meeting and told them like, yeah, you guys are arguing over, you guys want to hate us, but you guys been poor since for generations here. Most of your ancestors didn't have slaves anyway. Like you can be pissed off
Right.
about us about affirmative action, but the real enemy is the people that's taxing you guys for your food and taxing you guys for your land and taxing you for that. He literally, that's when he put all the beans on the little table for them and separated them. He did that for the college students too. So it's a video of him doing with the white college students, and he telling them this is you guys, the Catholics, the Christians, the Muslims, this, that, and that, and that. And he separated them. He said they want us all to fight, while at the same time it's only 1% of people that's really an enemy to these percentage of people over here. And he had a lot of people backing him. They killed that dude when I think he was 20 years old in the bed with his
Right.
pregnant girlfriend. Shot him like 30
Yeah,
something
they
times while he was laying asleep.
yeah, they did him
Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Hey,
made
hey,
shit.
hey,
They
Crazy.
hey. Number two. I don't want Troller. Don't say that, Troller. Don't say. Controller knows this. Number Big dog number two. 'Cause that was you I was
Yep.
building with, right? Okay, cool, cool. What would you say is the best place in the world to grow stuff? Is it?
That's a
Now I'm gonna
good
put this out
question.
there. I'm gonna put this out there. Is it the equator? Is it a tropical area?
You
Is it
know, you can't tell me you can't. Ain't no more lies gonna be
Oh,
told.
oh,
You know,
stop,
I'm
Oh
a
man.
man.
G check all the
It,
lies, yo.
it was so
You know
good
that,
before.
ho. Let you know, all y'all smart little guys want to don't sound so intelligent.
Appreciate it.
What cracked up for you, bro? I'm telling you.
that's just how you
Yes,
say
sir.
hello.
That's
That's how. Hey, that's how you say hello. So you think is it possible? You think is the equator, tropical areas, Puerto Rico, Africa? What do you think the best places is to grow stuff at in the whole world?
in the old world.
The whole, no,
I
no,
want
the whole world, the whole world.
Florida.
I would want to say something like a coastline, something on the coast to a certain
Give
degree.
me, you give me two places. Give me two places. What's your first and second? Because I know what you was taught. I know what you was taught.
I say like shit, Florida and I say like a Middle Eastern type
Out of the whole
peninsula or
world, you pick
something.
Florida, and then you pick the second one is where
The Middle East.
Middle East, like what? Where
You mean the desert land?
Middle East, where? Like
No, no, like
What is
the grassland part because I just been studying. I heard they got like good soil. No, for real though. All bullshit aside, I heard they got like real fertile soil over there.
it's crazy you say the Middle East because that's like a coin. They just started calling a certain land the Middle East in the 1800s. That was some shit to
Yeah, I know,
separate too. But
I
I
know
ain't
that, bro. I know
so.
that.
Hey, so check this out. Let's start with Florida. How many seasons is in Florida?
mm,
Shit, I have no idea, bro. I say what, two or
That's
three?
like two and a half. It can be a half. It don't have to be a solid three. How many seasons in the I don't know where that Middle East area you picking. How many seasons you might think is there?
it depends on what part of Florida.
That's what I'm saying. Like
But
what area?
like
If you put it like
shit,
this, if you put it like this,
I'm thinking
this
Miami or
what I
something.
Miami
okay.
don't
It's
have
still
off
you
season.
just said two and a half, right? Or two. So let's put it like this. We was social engineered to think about soil. So is it the soil or is it the seasons? Which
Mm,
one you think it is? Is it the soil or is it the weather? Or is it the weather?
That's a good question, bro.
the
So
weather.
Yeah,
that's the thing about this. That's the thing. Go ahead. You got it.
I mean, I say the soil because you're right. That's what I was taught. Like if you don't got no good soil or nothing to put the seed in, if it's you know what I'm saying, then it ain't shit gonna grow.
Okay. So so the soil is not that's not the number one, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the weather. It's the weather. These plants it can grow in a lot of effed up type of soil. It's just they need that certain type of weather.
Right.
Okay.
So United States or this area, we have a close. It's called a close four season. A close. What is a close four season? It's more tighter and closer. Some of the other parts of the world they have four seasons, but they're further away. Do you understand? You understand what I'm saying about that?
Like
I get
basically
what you
you getting like all the seasons are like they coming back to back. It ain't no long winter, it ain't no long fall, no long summer like that. It's like
I'm talking about
almost
so
immediate.
it's traveling. It's traveling. So they have to travel so far away to get that type of weather. It's a traveling thing. So if you look at California, so if you
I got a
say
question.
Florida, if you say Florida, Florida has 2 seasons, right? If they know they can only get key lime and oranges, if they wanted to get um, um, juniper berries and berries and apples, they had to go all the way up to Ohio. That is what is that, Trolla? 16 hours, 16 hours
Mm.
driving. And I think if you walk, I don't know, 16 hours. But if you go to California, California has almost over 7 seasons wrapped right there that you don't even got to travel that far. So if they're in Ghana, Ghana people got to travel so far just to reach that certain type of 4 seasons. So we have a certain area we call sweet spots. That's where you get to the Trail of Tears. That's when you get to your
Mm.
ancestors. Why was they so
Right.
upset? Because they found a certain part of the world that they can grow every fucking thing that the creator designed in one pocket without traveling so far, and then use the Mississippi River as a freeway that stretched out like
So
veins, and then the colonizers go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so what is the answer? Is it California?
Well, over here you would start out with California.
Right. Northern California or
California,
Southern?
Calif- I would have to screen share and show you. But California can outdo any place on this earth,
True, true, true.
any place.
That's why all the weed go there because it's the humidity of it. That's what I learned when I was in California. The
Hey, you know
humidity over
what?
there.
I wanted to say
Well,
California.
It's the lack
I
of
did
look,
want to
humidity.
say
Yeah,
California, but
I
we
know
got
you do.
northern lights in California too, the same way they
Uh huh.
have in
Yeah, 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 you
bro.
do. Because I was in Northern California and it was beautiful. I'm talking about beautiful. Right? When I rode from Southern California to Northern, it was, dog, I'm talking about ridiculous. I never seen so many stars in my life when I was
Y'all
in
know
California.
y'all know where tobacco or ganja is. It originally comes from here. We are the founders of
Yeah,
that.
right,
oh
right.
yeah,
We call it
yeah.
the
That's why you
yeah.
can grow outdoors. It don't rain like that down here in Florida. The humidity it create spider mites and shit like that. So it mold up. It's
Well,
not
you a
supposed to get
bad boy.
rained on.
You a bad man. Hey, you a bad man. Yeah,
You a
California can
bad
outdo.
man.
Hey, California can outdo the whole Africa, the whole Africa.
Right.
I didn't know that,
Where
native.
you
You
at,
talking about
Bucko
the
Oh
whole
Nicky?
yeah.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole.
California
Oh
is
yeah.
that.
Because here's the thing, they say Africa is the motherland. So let's get into the word mother. Mother is birthing, growing. So California is actually the motherland, which some people say this is the motherland. It can birth everything in the world in one little pocket, one little pocket, without even
Yeah,
traveling that far, y'all.
Yeah, to
I'm going
travel
to
the whole
Cali.
California is like it's probably like
I
10,
love
12
Cali, man.
hours
I ain't
to
gonna lie.
travel
When
the
I went to
whole
Cali,
California.
I
I
already
love
said
Cali.
I was gonna go to Cali in the next 4 years. Once
I
I
ain't
get
gonna
my
lie
degree,
though.
I'm already going out there.
The weed kind of smoked different though when I was in Cali. Like being at the humidity, it was like the buds were bigger. When it came when I was in Florida, they
It's
like
hey,
compressed up and they were like more
it's big.
sticky.
It's way bigger than ganja. If you think about it, California used to grow a certain fruit. It was called papa. Pawpaw does not actually need bees. It actually uses flies to pollinate it. California had a
Mm,
certain type of fruit that uses flies. They depended on flies, not bees. This was
damn.
a unique area, yo. It was. But they turned California into a resort place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the motherland, yo. I mean, seriously. So I just want to throw that out.
Hey, so explain the fires and shit then. Like, what's that about, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Them
The
damn
wild
forest
the
fires and shit.
wildfires.
Their
That
fires
Yeah.
come
that
from
trolls.
lightning strikes, bro.
Say that
You
again.
said who?
Wildfires. I used to fight wildfires out here. They come from lightning strikes. Most of these
Oh,
firefighters. Well, no, I say a small percentage of them come from lightning strikes. Majority of them come from firefighters actually lighting their fires because they're seasonal
Right.
workers. So they start work around July, like around this time right now, and then it ends in September. But usually it be cut short because of the rain. But we don't get rain like we used to get over here. Like it's a big drastic change in California than it used to be. Like Northern California still get a lot of rain, but some of Southern California don't really get that much rain. But we getting way less rain than we used to get in previous years since I've been alive. But that rain, when it rains, what it does is moisturize all the dry fuel. So when those trees and that brush start getting dry, all it takes is a lightning strike to save anything. Anything with inertia in it, and it'll light everything on fire. So if you take dry
Right.
leaves and light it on fire, or dry grass and light it on fire, it'll
Oh
go
yeah,
up
yeah,
fast as
yeah, yeah,
hell.
yeah,
It outrun
Hey,
even a
yeah.
car at full speed.
hey, Joe, look, I use this on somebody one day when they always try to talk about the other place.
Yeah,
This
yeah, I
area
got a question.
is this area is the homeland of the lightning bugs. The lightning bugs. If you ask certain people in certain countries in different part of the world, lightning bugs, them bugs they used to fly in the sky that light up like
Yeah.
electrical, that look like
I
that
just seen
Avatar
one like
movie.
last week.
Yeah, that Avatar movie. That's what I said. That movie belongs to over here. We have the biggest rainforest. We birthed the
Oh
lightning
yeah.
bugs over here.
The
Mm.
biggest
Hey
trees in the
yo,
world
hey
are in
yo,
California,
what was
bro.
that?
The hottest
What was
place
that
in the
last
world is in
profile
California.
picture mean?
One of the biggest gold reserves in the planet for a long time was California. Like California definitely has a lot of stuff that you can literally say points to a movie like that. Like if you go to Northern California, they got a place called the Avenues of the Giants, and it's literally trees so big that you can drive 18 wheelers through them. Like they cut a hole in the middle of the tree that's still standing. You can drive 18 wheelers through it. That's how big
Yo,
the tree is.
that's
But there was
crazy.
bigger
That's
trees there
crazy.
though. There was bigger
Right.
trees there. That's why I was asking y'all about the northern lights because a lot of people now are saying they're connected to the trees that were there originally that people cut down, like the real tree of knowledge and the real tree of life and all of that stuff probably existed and then connected to the these lights because them northern lights does look like that Avatar movie in real life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it still has all of the special effects. So even when they talk about
Hey,
Africa, they say it's one of the hottest places on the planet, but the hottest place on the planet is in California.
Yeah, it is.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Just to piggyback on what you said, bro. When I was studying like the indigenous people over here in the land, they called it the Americas, the New World, right? They always used to say like America was like one big forest. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can set up and garden anywhere. That's what I was getting out of the main gist of what I was reading. They was basically
You
saying it was
spot on.
like re- yeah, they were saying it was so beautiful. It was like nothing
Hey,
but
Chris,
tropical
Chris,
type ass forestry to the point where you couldn't even imagine that shit to this day.
if you go back to that fake ass story about Christopher Colombo, however you want to say his name, when they said he came over here, what was the main thing he said he did? He wanted to swap spices, aka what is spices? Herbs. We have the
Right.
most herbs over here.
Yep.
Why? We have the exotic animals. We have the exotic plants because of the rainforest. They've been trying to burn it down ever since. We have the most herbs, but most of these holistic niggas always want to say, "I get my herbs magically." Well, you didn't know that
Hmm.
we have all the herbs. They have
Right.
some. It's nothing against it, but they have some. The only reason why it's like that because they don't have four seasons. You cannot grow
Right.
everything in the world if you don't have four seasons. You can't.
They was they was basically saying from New York all the way to Cali, from fucking Canada all the way down to Texas, entire forest, the whole country.
Yeah, it was. That's why buffalo were more rampant in this country. Like you could see by the wildlife what type of place that it was. It was a place definitely dedicated to wildlife in every spectrum. Like, although Africa got a lot of plain land, that's better. That's good for wildlife. I'm saying it's crazy. That's good for wildlife. Uh, United States literally is better for humans. You know what I mean? So, like, if the original humans were migrating, and a lot of people get confused with this, and we had a debate on this the other day, and they were talking about, finding the human remains in Africa, and it's like, okay, because they found the oldest human remains in Africa, doesn't mean they lived there, because all that really means is they died there and where they found them was like on the border of what would be considered Asia. People don't literally, especially back then, we can only assume that they were moving and migrating for water sources and food sources at that time. So those are the oldest human remains. But the biggest argument that I have for this the whole scenario is this: they started digging and found. I think the oldest human remains were found somewhere in the 70s, in the late 60s, right? They started digging 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. They by then, all the United States was pretty much industrialized. They had already put concrete on the ground. They're not looking over here for old remains. They're not digging. They don't. We don't have no big archaeologist movements over here in California or anywhere else. Pretty much in the United States, they had a few where old burial grounds were at, so they can tell you somewhat history. But I'm saying like we didn't have a big movement like they did in Ethiopia, Africa, where they were going consistently looking for old human remains. So we pretty much probably built right over top of the oldest human remains for all we know because we do have the oldest pyramids, though. We do have proof of the oldest life or civilizations here. So why wouldn't you think they would focus here before they focus there?
Mm.
That's just food
I
for thought
heard,
because it's like, go ahead, bro.
hey,
My bad.
y'all heard? Yeah, like they say basically, Atlanta basically represent the city of Atlantis, like underwater or some shit like that. Y'all heard that shit before?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard that before.
I heard about it.
No, I ain't never heard nothing like that.
Yeah, they
I
basically
heard,
say city of Atlantis
I,
under America or some shit like that.
I mean, I heard America, but not Atlanta.
Hey, the thing is, they got whole civilizations under the water, man. They all them the artifacts they found and different damn castles are under the water. So
Right.
it's a lot of shit that
I heard
ain't,
that
ain't
same
even
thing
discovered
too.
yet.
It was
Yeah,
saying
because
that
I
Atlanta
don't
is
think
like the home. It was
California
like the
was the
main.
last. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, bro.
Now, just with the Bermuda Triangle thing, that was part of the Atlantis too. Was what they. I heard that same rhetoric that Atlanta was the home or the main capital of Atlantis type of situation. That's why so much go on there. I kind
Mm,
of heard that same thing before.
So this is pure
mm,
science, right? Like no injector, but pure science. So, manifest destiny is everything from New York to California. California, though, the reason why a lot of people ended up in California in the first place, well, I won't say people, I'll say the white expansion of California came because of the gold rush. And we all know about Lewis and Clark expedition they taught us in school, which was bullshit. You know what I mean? But either way it
yeah.
goes, they came over here for gold. Once they found out it was gold here, that's when they sent what they call the original 49. That's how they got the team, the 49ers. But I say all this to say that even with everything they have said, to say this, we have a fault line in California called the San Andreas Fault. We also have a volcano that's due to erupt at any given time. There's also another volcano not far from us, the biggest volcano on the planet that hasn't erupted. That probably would affect the whole planet if it ever does erupt. But I don't
Uh
think it
oh,
will because it has so many hot spots
uh oh,
on top.
you
So
going in?
the, the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
with that being said, we know for a fact that that fault line was created by something. So fault lines don't just come about; they come about because of what they call plate tectonics, because of seismic shifts.
Yeah.
So that fault line was created because a plate had to have fell off the other end of California. So we're only where we start out as California, and it's all coastal. That was there was something before California, put it like that, and it fell off into the ocean. And I will tell you this: within 100 years or less, California will no longer exist either. It would also be a part of the ocean. And then you
Right.
can say a couple
Mm,
100,000 a year. Right now, where we have written history that the memory of California won't fade, like the other plates that probably fell off of California. So I just want y'all to get that, like, because California does not fit with plate tectonics on side of the where it should fit, because everything should fit together as a puzzle. Because it was a such thing as Pangea originally, and Pangea is all of these plates put together. And then there's truth to that because you see that Russia, Europe, Asia, and Africa are not continents. They not, by definition, by their own definition, they can't be considered continents because continents are a large landmass surrounded by water. But Africa
Separate,
connects to Asia and it connects to Europe on one side. It connects to
together.
Europe on the Spanish side, and then it's a sliver of water that separates Africa and Spain. But there's no water that separates Africa and Asia. Now they call that the Middle East, and that's the main reason why somebody mentioned that earlier. They changed the name to the Middle East because the Middle East is connected to Kemet, Egypt, and still
Right,
had the same history. Then they stole that history and called it the Middle East because that's even all the biblical stories, all the Quranic
right,
stories, all of those stories come from that basin over there, which would be what is known as Africa today, which was known as something else back then because it was
right,
Africa was named after another conqueror. Either way it goes, there's no such thing as Africa, Asia, and Europe. They're the same place, especially
right,
Asia and Europe. There's nothing
Right.
separating
right.
them.
Or the Middle
You
East.
know, but
Right.
before they changed it to the Middle East, I heard it was called the land of Shem or the land of Canaan before the Middle East, and they changed it in like the 1700s.
If
And
you
it was
look
called
up,
Judea. It was called all sorts of stuff, bro. Like
if you look up how
that's
far
fact.
Egypt is from quote unquote Middle East, it'll tell you it's like 5 hours, 4 5 hours of travel time. Real talk. It's just
Yep.
like going to from Florida,
You gotta
you know,
get
it's in state to
from
state.
Egypt. Yep. You got to get from Egypt. You get through Jordan, and from Jordan, that's when you get to Saudi Arabia. From Saudi Arabia, that's where you get to Iraq and Pakistan and all that
Right.
shit.
They all right next to each other. Real talk.
Yep.
That's real hit. So you saying everybody got
Yeah,
to get out of
that's
California?
So is
America
it?
is literally America is literally the land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
So is
You
it a
got to ask
connection
yourself.
between? So,
No,
I
go
was just
ahead,
gonna
my
say
man.
this, y'all.
Keep going.
Yeah. If it is it like a spiritual connection between this land, the Americas, right, in between, in with that overseas, or two different understandings, two different natives, two different people? Like, what's the
It
connection
not
if there's
it,
any?
it's not that it's not. I won't even not being rude. It's not that deep. It's everybody is tribal, right? We're all tribal all around the world. They just separate us on something else. We was all tribal. It's just all tribal things. Just that's all it is. It's just all tribal with different type of culture. But that's it. It ain't
Right.
it ain't no bigger than that. It's just that's what it is. Just but some areas just is lacking and some areas ain't.
You
Is
you
is the
you
Atlantic
are
slave trade
you are
real?
But you're an earthling though, bro. Like so at the end of the day, the transatlantic slave trade is real, but you're an earthling, right? To a certain extent. They didn't die bring that many slaves over here. There was people already here
Right.
that got enslaved. But you gotta think about
Right.
what about the people that were so Christopher Columbus wrote that when he got here there was already black people here. There was also black people on the boat with him
Exactly.
navigating him to this place. So at the end of the day,
The Moors. The
and we
Moors.
also
Yep.
know
The
that
Moors.
massive
Yep.
yeah. So the Moors navigated them here, but there were people here that weren't even Moor. And there was also, Mansa Musa brother also had an expansion of people who landed in South America.
Exactly.
So there's been
Right.
melanated, there've been melanated people, Mongoloid people here way before there was any Caucasian people. They know that.
Right.
Oh yeah, I
Everybody
know.
knows
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
they know
So
Hey,
that.
If
with
you don't
that,
know that, if you don't know that by now, you don't know shit.
hey, you
Shit.
yeah,
know
so
what?
my thing is this. You know that manifest destiny, what I just told y'all. Okay, so when white people land, and that story that they teach you in school, they landed in the first few colonies, which were over there on the East Coast. They were all pretty much in the New York area, Philadelphia, one of the first major cities in that area over there. They didn't get to California until way later. Slavery was almost over by the time they made it to California, the whites that I'm talking about, according to y'all to the history book. So what happened to the people that were here because there were already people here? So and it wasn't just Mexican people who come from the Mongoloid people who also got intruded by the fucking because they start calling them mestizo because of their mixture between the Spaniards. So they were conquered by the Spaniards too. But before this Lois and Clark expedition, there was black people here, and there's plenty of proof of those people. There's plenty of proof of them.
It is.
So like they literally stealing the best land from us. Like that's all there is to it. And there's a
I,
reason why they keep telling us that we need to focus on one place. The word continent is political. Once you understand that,
Right.
then you can understand that you cannot belong to a continent. You're an earthling. You belong to the earth. And earthlings migrate for
right.
food and for water. Then we were on this earth way before they even came into existence. So before the genetic defect of white people, before that genetic defect ever happened, we were on this earth for thousands of years. So you saying we didn't travel, or people trying to say that we stayed in one spot or one region and just congregated there and waited till white people came into existence and then we start traveling? We
We
needed them to
always
start
been
traveling?
traveling. We always been
Exactly.
traveling.
So we come from everywhere. We are the original Earthlings. We're not
Hey, so
American. We're not African. We're not European.
Right.
We are
right.
everything. We're all of those
You
things. We're
seen
our
Hidden
place
Colors?
first. We was in Europe before them. We was in Asia before the Asians, the Mongoloid
Right.
people. We were in America before them people. We come from everywhere. We're Earthlings. That's what we are.
Right.
You
Hey,
seen
so
Hidden Colors?
Charlotte, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. That's how I got a lot of some of my actually the Hidden Color movies where I got shit, my conscience from. Man, that's what that was like the beginning of my
I haven't
understanding.
seen it. I never
Yeah,
seen it
that
in
was so
color.
good.
What What is it in
I was
colors
gonna
about?
ask you, it's about
It's
basically how
basically showing
everything
that
was
we from
black before
everywhere.
white people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we from everywhere. It's basically showing that we how they like you say trying to put us in just Africa when we were everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere.
Hey, you
Yeah.
know what? This is why no American, aka Indian, would say mother land. We say mother earth. Y'all right.
Right.
It's an
Mm.
earth. We should say mother earth, but the white man told you to call a continent mother land. It's if you accidentally say
Right.
mother land, you're giving the rest of the world to the enemy. So we want to go
Right.
back to saying mother earth, claiming the whole place. We travel. See, I always want to bring out if we go back to the to Aaron Massey. Aaron Massey was the dude that was shot in Buffalo, right? Now, most of this is going to go into history. Aaron Massey is not the first guy that invented that, but if you go back to Aaron Massey, he was tapped into trellises, understanding hydrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. Where did he get that type of information from? From the other guy that got the information from the other people. When you go back to the Baghdad battery, the Baghdad battery talks about how they was traveling. People was flying in the air before we're talking about traveling in boats. That's when you get into helium and hydrogen. Hydrogen, you go back to the Nazis. The Nazis was
Right.
traveling around in something we call a blimp or something. Y'all remember them big old blimps up in the sky from Goodyear
Yeah.
and shit like that? That, but you only
Yeah.
Yeah.
see them at football stadiums. Your ancestors was traveling either with hydrogen or helium. But that's so what they tapped into was
Damn,
using
hot air
hydrogen.
balloon. Right.
Yeah, yeah, they would. So the Nazis was traveling the world with the blimps, all right. But they had a trellises inside of the blimps. They was running. They was traveling with water. They don't want us to understand. Your ancestors was flying in the sky with water, but using the elements, the copper and the aluminum, to pull hydrogen out of it to hover. So when Aaron Massey
Mm.
was tapping into it, we didn't understand what he was trying to break down. I could run his vehicle with salt water or fresh water, but it's not water, it's hydrogen. And what but it comes from the word called Baghdad, the Baghdad battery. It's very simple. We can use the Baghdad battery to hover, or we can use it to go fast on the ground. This is what they was doing. I kept trying to show that in Kemet, but the Pan Africans don't understand that. They want to keep talking
And
about
you
the
know what?
domes. Okay.
Right. And then look, what you saying too is right because you know this little weird white dude on the History Channel. He be talking about the chariots of the gods and shit like that. And they be bringing up they be having like these ancient deities, right, in a fucking spaceship or some shit like that. You familiar with
Ancient.
that?
It was.
The
Oh yeah,
cobble.
because they don't want you to say these words. When you type in ancient air balloons, you're going to see them all over the walls around the world.
Yeah.
They want you to think they was blowing fire inside of it because if they teach you about fire going up in the air balloon, they don't want you to understand about oxygen and not helium but hydrogen. You know what I mean? Put in potassium hydroxide or baking soda. Why is baking soda involved or potassium hydroxide? These are all base. They're all base. They're in a pH of 13. This is how he was able to fly. Hitler was doing it
Mm.
all the time. He was all about levitation. Nikola Tesla was all about electromagnetism. They both was on two type of free energies. But once they died, then the United Nations was founded, and they started lying about how we was traveling. Let's put these niggas in a boat. Let's say that they traveled through the Bering Strait in a boat all day. They don't want you to
Mm-hmm.
understand your people is traveling with just water, salt water,
Mm.
fresh water. There's two type of waters on this earth: fresh water, salt water.
Right.
Yep.
But how did they? But this is where if I screen share and show you the Duracell battery and show you the ancient battery, you'll get an aha moment.
Dog, that's what's so crazy. It's called JEA here, who do the electricity. It's right there where the ocean and the river at. It's like right there where the ocean is, like a quote unquote
There's a
port, the river
reason why
ocean.
we got so much water in this place. There's a reason why we got so much water in this place. There's a
Right.
reason for it, and we're just using it wrong.
Hey, so have y'all ever heard? This go back to what Troller was saying. How he basically saying they knew he was over here, Christopher Columbus. You ever heard this? And this, I believe I got this from Hidden Colors. They say that the Vikings knew that it was black people over here before. They used to go back to the to wherever
Okay,
the fuck they from,
let me
Transylvania
tell.
or some shit, and they
I'm
used to
gonna tell
say
you what I seen in Williamsburg, Virginia, where they first
Bro, how
started. I ain't
you
gonna
just
tell
come in
you
and cut
what
that man
I
off,
know,
bro?
but I'm gonna tell
Before
you
you got
where
shot
they
last
first
time.
started. What I seen when I went there, Williamsburg, Virginia. When you go in Williamsburg, Virginia, and you read for yourself, and you realize they only got 3 boats. Where all the rest of the boats at? They care supposed to be people over here. But when you start reading these monuments for yourself, it only gonna tell you they only brought 100 people over here. That they will outnumber 1 to 1,000. Well, then you go to
Bro.
Petersburg. I can take you to Petersburg, Virginia. I can show you where Pocahontas' house at. I can show you where the lady that made America flag house at. I can show you where they turned the rivers at. I can show you how. I can show you all where they caught the slave, where the slave used to be at. I can show you all that right there. But
show me.
when you realize it was already slaves here, that was a big business that we slave ourselves. And I blame them fuck ass morals. Moral. I'm a moral.
I
I'm a
agree with
Boy,
moral.
that.
you a house nigga,
I
Fuck,
agree with
man.
yo.
that. I agree with that. That is true. That's what.
Hey,
Look, for a
can
motherfucker to
I
show
say
Christopher.
something right now that y'all gonna say is pseudoscience though, but it's real science? Okay, first of all,
What's
everything
up?
that we created, and I've said this before, anything that we have created as humans, right? As far as cars, even hot air balloons, any traveling methods, boats, cell phones, TVs, they all come from something that you can do naturally. But every time we create something that's unnatural, that replaces our natural essence, we lose that part of ourselves. I'm gonna give you, and I use this for example, and I used this the other day, and I'm gonna say it again, right? Okay, when I was younger, we all had to remember numbers. We had to remember a mother number. We had to remember our address. We had to remember certain things. Well, the kids in the future are never gonna have to remember that, and that's gonna be a lost art. It's gonna be
That's
something that
right.
people don't have to do. So in the future, that's going to be over with, right? So just think about it like this: everything that we've done has done that to us before. Everything we do, we create. We create for convenience, but it's taken from our natural ability. Like you literally
Mm,
could create movies in your head. So when you watch movies, it takes from your natural ability to use your imagination.
mm,
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's somebody else's imagination magnified or put onto a
right.
screen. Literally, even this phone, even us communicating like this through this phone, we could be able to communicate like this with our minds. Literally, our minds are literally electric. It's everything that this phone possesses, our body possess, because this shit came from the earth. We made nothing on this earth that did not come from this earth, so it's only symbolic of the earth. And everybody's body here is a earth and galaxies inside of one small frame. That's all you are. You just have a different megahertz than everything else on here. So at the end of the day, the only reason why I said that is to tell you this: melanin is really the God particle.
Right.
Melanin can literally take energy from the sun. It can absorb that energy and turn it into air. So while we were talking about how plankton and trees give off air, you know black people also give off air, and it makes us different than them. So even when he's talking about salt water, we can generate that within our own body. We literally
Okay,
have everything that can happen on Earth, and every element of the Earth is inside of your body. I'm done.
Facts.
that's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
you know what I
Hey,
just,
hey,
you know.
say, can I jump in? Can I jump on that?
Oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go
Because I
ahead.
want because I want to take it back to the numbers. Because he man, he killed it with because we do produce salt water out of our body. Um,
Right.
so and
Oh
we
yeah,
also
when you
do
sweat,
fresh water,
yep.
and we always do fresh water. So check this out, because I come from that area too with the numbers. We used like they took our symbols, our numbers, because we didn't look at numbers as numbers. We used to flip them upside down and say, "I'll be over there," or "I love you," "I
Right.
hate you." We was quick with it, but this is how far it goes. We had a time frame where we was able to trust each other with our addresses. Today, nobody trusts each other with the address. We had the yellow pages. We had the. Do y'all
Right.
understand how deadly that would be today if we did that type of stuff? Think about this. We had something called 411. Do y'all remember what 411 was?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
We
information. You
we
can just call them to get information on somebody.
see
Right.
see. Yep. We had 4 to 5 different type of numbers we had to remember. We had zero. We had 411. We had 911. We had the other one for the weather. Do y'all remember the weather number?
It was a time number too.
I
You remember the
forgot.
time number?
Yep,
Damn, it
they
was a
had one
Yeah.
for
time
the
number.
time
See,
too.
I
see,
Yep,
forgot the weather. I
yep,
see,
forgot
yep,
the
yep.
see.
weather.
I remember that one. I remember that one.
Hey, hey,
Damn, I
hey,
forgot
listen,
At
about
this
Joel.
that one now.
time, the
I want. I,
specific standard time is 12 o'clock.
yeah,
Oh,
thank you,
Yeah,
12.
thank you,
yeah.
thank you, thank you. Okay, so look, Chola, what he was saying, y'all. If the average person go to if a new generation go to jail today and they give you one phone call, he needs his cell phone.
Ooh.
He's not going to remember a number. So think about it. Y'all know how many numbers we had to remember, like all the information, weathers, and destinations, and knowing collect
Yeah.
call and this and that,
Man,
and then
yeah.
on top knowing your auntie's number, your
I was
social
just about
security
to
number,
say,
your
like,
birthday,
some of us still
and flip
remember
them
our
upside
grandma's
down.
phone numbers and shit.
Oh, I
Now
remember my
Alexa has
first
be
number and my growing number.
I
now
remember my
Alexa has
grandma's
became
number
the
from
god.
2001 before she
We
died.
Yep. So we created a digital God, a digital God. We
Hmm.
put
Damn.
now love is in your back pocket. Love is in your back pocket called an app, and a God is in your back pocket. It's a digital God, a digital God. That's what's going on. We're building up a God. Man creates machines, and then machines is going to create machines that's going to put us out of business, and then a new portness is coming, a whole new portness.
This make
Like the
me want to become
GPS.
a native Indian again. Shit, like damn, running the forest and say fuck this shit.
Yeah. I was gonna say just like the GPS. That's what's even more crazy. Like a lot of people don't know where they going without a GPS. We used to have to really
Y'all heard,
like know the
bro? Did you hear what
roads
he
and shit, bro.
you hear what Charlie said? When you doubt the information, he actually he remembered it. You literally dialed a number and a lady picked up the phone, a real life person. You say, "Hey,
Right.
I'm trying to go to Pizza Hut," and you can literally talk to her and say, "But I don't know how to get there." She will actually tell you with directions. Say, "Make a left on Oakland and then make a right on Bridgetown, and then you should see a store." And guess what? You never wrote it down. You memorized it. And then you got off the
Right.
phone. You said, you know what? I want to go swimming after I get something to eat. Then you called the weather channel. You called the weather number. And then you spoke to them like, okay, I live in this area. You think it's going to rain. And then when you got there, you need to get picked up from your mom and dad. You dial collect. It was, and then if you had a pager, you type upside down.
Yep. And you know what
Hmm.
really took from our abilities originally as human from speaking with our mind, speaking with our mouth. Seeing, like seeing when we start using our eyes, it stops us from using our mind. Stop
Right.
us from seeing with our mind. Because our eyes are only processing energy and converting it over to electricity and giving it through synapse and back to our brain. They mirror certain images, but you are trained to see certain stuff. And we were talking about that the other day on this panel. We were talking about how like babies see stuff that we can't see, but we force them to see what we do see only. They see other
Right.
stuff too though, but we force their eyes away from those things. That's because we exist in all different platforms. We also exist in spirit. You know what I mean? We can see those things. All of us do. We exist in another dimension, but we can't see that because we're operating on one frequency. And that's why I said it's important for people to understand megahertz. Even when Israel and Native are talking about food, like they, at first when I first met Yiz a while ago, he was saying some Hebrew Israelite stuff. Me and him was getting into it always about the Hebrew Israelite stuff every time I ran into him. When he started talking about food, I ran into Native. They start talking about food and more natural stuff. So that's where I kind of like, okay, I'm seeing where they're coming from. Now I don't really know as
Hey,
much as them when it comes to the nutritious food value, but I do know the science behind megahertz in your brain and in your body, and
Right.
why it's important to get these natural foods, because those natural foods not only possess what we need for our bodies, but they also possess something that we need for our minds and not just our
Exactly.
brain, but our minds. They connect us more to the earth. They have frequency inside of them. Fruit has
Hey,
megahertz.
one
Right.
thing
They
too,
can
bro. I
literally
ain't want to
test
cut
Your
you
fruit
off, but
son,
and
you
they
your
can
said
feel.
stomach
something
got a
about
brain too, though. Your stomach
hey, you
got a
just
brain
said
too.
something about
Yeah,
like, cause I ain't know I was on mute, but now like kids basically seeing shit that adults can't see, cause like when before up until you turn like 8, 7, 8 or 9, somewhere like that, like kids can see like
yeah,
paranormal shit and different things, you know what I'm saying? And the parents say like, oh, you just having a nightmare, you know what I'm saying? But not
Right,
knowing they
right.
really seeing the shit. I used to
Correct.
see
Right.
some crazy
exactly.
shit, bro. Like
Hey,
shit
hey,
that
let
I
me
couldn't
jump in.
even sleep off of.
Y'all going in.
Yeah.
Yo, so you see how you saying the kids and you talking about the seeing. So they say that the humans can only they have three cones, and the three cones, the color of the three cones in the eyes is blue, red, and green. Right now, I really believe this is what I'm saying. I believe that a child is born until we wing them over, they lose their cones. So right now, all of us, what they're saying is that we have these three cones. The color of the three cones is blue, red, and green. I believe when a child is born that they have over three cones, and they might be able to see six, which means that they can see colors that we can never imagine on some la la land type stuff. Because
Right.
there is actually a type of shrimp. I don't know the name right now. It's in the ocean. It can see 16 cones. We can only fathom three right now. We know for a fact that we have conversations that there's other different colors that we can never comprehend. Because why? We only had these
You
three
can't.
cones, the blue, red, and green. But I believe that a child was able to reach 16, but we diluted them with a certain type of foods. I think if we was doing everything
Right.
correctly, I think our cones could have been up to the 6 and 7, when we could have
Yeah,
looked up
that's
at
a
the
fact.
skies like on some
They
Northern
say
Light
when you
type shit.
born, that light that they hit you with kind of mess you up.
In the baby
That
formula, the
numbs you for
Y'all,
Similac,
real.
y'all watch that?
the
I'm gonna show you
Y'all
something
remember
real
used to
quick.
watch
Watch
Dragon
this.
Ball Z, bro?
Go ahead,
Like
show
you
him. Show
notice
him. I'll
how
give you
So
some.
Gohan
Go
used to
ahead.
do all that crazy.
now you see right now, like, and I like going to this one right here because it says your brain frequency range is from 72 to 90 megahertz. It's important to remember this number because a genius brain frequency is 80 to 82 megahertz. A normal brain frequency is 72 megahertz. There's 8 megahertz lost right there. If the brain range from 72 to 90, but a genius, the smartest person on this planet, history that they're telling you about, gets to 82 megahertz. That means they're saying we're limited at 82, but we know we can get to 90. Most people, most of us are in 70, 72, 73, 74. If you're intelligent, 75. The human body 62 to 78 megahertz. But if you go down, hold on, if you go down to the bottom of this list right here and you see where fresh food's at, 20 to 27 megahertz. Fresh herbs, 20 to 27 megahertz. Dry foods, 15 to 22 megahertz. Dry herbs, 15 to 22 megahertz. You'll see that flu starts, if you see on the other side, a flu starts at 57 to 60 megahertz. Everything is designed by megahertz. This whole planet literally is running off of pure energy. When we eat natural stuff from the planet, it contributes to the megahertz in our bodies or in our brain, also in our mind. It generates something better inside of us. The more unnatural stuff that we surround ourselves by, including concrete, because we live in concrete, we live in cement, and that's rock. And we didn't come from the rock. We came from the dirt. But there is a people on this planet that came from the rock. They came from the cave. And they can
Yep.
survive inside the cave better because they have a low frequency. Their body frequency is lower than ours. Now, this chart is wrong. This is a scientific chart based on normal frequency ranges for normal people. Your
Right, right.
frequency range, because you're black, is higher on every statistic. Is higher. So anytime that you're connected to natural earth is higher. But when you eating processed food, it's taken from your frequency. When you living inside of concrete, which we all are, we're living inside of some kind of form of cement, whether you live in an apartment or a house. You're surrounded by cement, and then you have electricity running through the cement. So it's
Right.
literally, and we all know, like if you take a car battery and just sit it on concrete for too long, it'll start draining the energy out of it because it
With
absorbs
energy.
energy.
And
Put
we
your
So
wear
cell
what
phone
cotton too.
put
Cotton
your
band
cell
too.
phone on concrete, your shit gonna drain.
exactly? Because rock naturally absorbs
I ain't never
energy,
thought about
and
that
since
shit.
you're made out of energy because of your melanin, you have more energy, and your power comes from that energy. You're constantly draining energy. Every time you're in
So
the
we gotta
car,
be like,
every time you're at home,
Yeah.
any time that you're not eating right, you cannot afford not to eat right. Because of our
so
living
we gotta be like,
At
circumstances
this
is
point, hell
enough.
no.
we gotta be
Yeah,
walking like
our
on
living
grass
circumstances is
barefoot
enough.
with
We
our
already
arms in.
reliant off of living inside of a side of rock. We've already submitted to living in rock because you literally make cement out of rock. They literally
Right.
got us used to what they come from. We created
But
caves
they ain't
in
making
places
them
Mm.
where we
many
didn't
brick
need them.
houses no more though.
Yeah, our
It's
You know,
different.
ancestors didn't
So
live
you
in caves,
like,
bro. Our
Right.
ancestors didn't live in caves. They were in the indigenous people lived foot to dirt,
Joe,
not in
what
Trollo.
about
caves.
wood? What
I'm
about
about to
wood?
I'm
What
about to
about
back
wood
you up.
houses? What about cat?
I'm about to
Wood
You know
is
back
what I'm
you
cool.
up.
saying?
Yeah,
Wood is cool.
I'm about
Wood
to
is
back you
cool.
up.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
wood.
that's what I was
Hey,
thinking. I was thinking
I'm
like,
about
damn,
to
we need to
but
be in
it
the
compliment.
say like we
cabin.
gotta be walking on
Huh?
grass
Hey, I'm about
barefoot
to
for our
compliment. Watch this, y'all. I'm about to
concrete.
compliment Troller on this. When he was talking about the concrete and diluting us, right? When we start getting our credit together, start getting money, we get ceramic tiles on our floor. But when you go into rich people's house, they got the oak wood floors, the
Right.
cedar
Yep,
Right.
wood. They got wood
I was just
floors.
thinking that.
While the black people get ceramic and it looks cute, but it is fancy. But when you get into the real deal, they got the nice. This is real oak, cedar wood, red cherry,
Yep.
wood
Right.
floors. Yep,
And they only
Yeah, we
make their
damn
definitely
right
trees,
about
they only
that.
make their tables out of solid oak or
Right.
manzanita,
That's
things
that
that
feng
actually
shui.
still have, yeah, density off of, because they need to be around raw material. Like, that raw material was free. Literally, we
Yeah.
would wait till the trees die, and we would make houses out of the trees, huts out of the trees, teepees out of the trees.
Right.
So like we literally used to make everything from nature. We were so connected to nature at once. It was synonymous.
Wood
We are the
represent
biggest
wealth.
representation of we're the mind of nature. That's all we are, bro. We're the mouthpiece of nature. That's it. And like
Right.
we fell out of that because somebody wanted us to fall out of that out of jealousy, pure jealousy. But we are the mouthpiece of the nature. But we're disconnected because of convenience, bro. And everything that we made convenient to make convenience actually took something from you. Because
Right.
and then you figure out like how did they make the pyramids? Why did they not need the stuff that we have today to survive? We create stuff to survive, and then we never ask ourselves, well, why our ancestors didn't need this stuff? How could we have made it here as humans without these things that we're using to survive that people think they can't
Exactly.
live without? Oh, I can't live without no car, man. How I'm supposed to get around? Oh, I can't live without this, and I can't live without no phone. I can't live without all of these things, ovens, microwaves, cookers, anything. Everything when you look around you, everything. You can live without it because your ancestors did live without it. And guess what? They
And
lived they
better.
lived a better, healthier life.
Exactly.
Yep, you know what? I'm gonna compliment you on that one too, because when you got a silky or a quail or a chicken, all the food produces out in the
Thank
heat.
you, Elon.
When a chicken births an egg, We have put eggs inside refrigerators, but eggs actually can last on the counter longer than it is inside a refrigerator. Once the egg comes out of chicken and you put it in the refrigerator, you are spoiling it. All right. Eggs have pockets all around it. It looks like the galaxy. You're supposed to leave it on the counter. It will actually last longer. But once you put it in the refrigerator and then you take it out the next day, it will rotten within 2 days.